Hello, new school comic book reviews. Okay, we'll just jump into it. First thing I have is New Avengers number 29, written by Jonathan Hickman. The penciler is Kev Walker, and the inking is by Kev Walker and Scott Hanna. Basically, it's 8 months later, and the Illuminati, some bad stuff has happened, and the Illuminati are having meetings with the other heroes, and basically trying to explain what's going on with the incursions and what they can and can't do, and what's going to happen, and so on and so forth. I thought this issue was okay. When I first started reading this comic, I was really into it, but then I thought the pace was kind of slow and it was starting to bug me, and I actually dropped it for a couple of months. Then I got back into it as the plot was starting to move forward again, and once again, for me, it's starting to kind of slow. I get slow again. We're getting towards the end of the big Pikmin's story here, but I think the big problem for me is that I'll be really disappointed if it doesn't come to a satisfying conclusion between this and No Adjective Avengers. If it all just kind of dovetails into a lead-in for Secret Wars, when of course it is going to be connected to Secret Wars at some point, if it doesn't end, I don't want to say right, I'll be really disappointed. The art was okay, nothing, not bad, but nothing super great, just okay. It was serviceable. So this is a just this side of okay issue for me. Let's see here. Danger Club number 6. I had totally forgotten about this comic book. The last issue came out like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago almost, something like that. The script is by Landry Q. Walker and the art is by Eric Jones. The original premise had something to do with the idea that there was some great threat. I think it was either one of the good guys had turned bad and killed the major heroes, and the only people who were left to stand up to the end of the world were the sidekicks of all the heroes, and they seemed to be having a losing fight. And the last issue I remember, without having to go dig it up, is this guy on the cover, Kid Vigilante, was killed by somebody, and that's all I can really remember. This issue seems to be taking place in these pseudo kind of afterlife, where he meets one of his old enemies, and it's kind of the afterlife, and it kind of isn't. It's kind of just another dimension or whatever. And Kid Vigilante has these memories of being cloned and how his mentor was really explaining what's really going on, and there's all sorts of it's another thing where parallel worlds and the earth is shifting and the end of all existence is coming because the universe is in flux and blah 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 and yakety schmackety. It seemed like this here's some other interesting art, I think. It seemed like this comic has taken a hard left from what I remember it. Like I said, I'll probably have to get the other issues out and reread them. But previously, it seemed like it was kind of playing with a lot of typical superhero tropes, and then just kind of doing the whole dark, grim, and gritty type thing. And now it looks like they're going into this sort of, crisis, inversion, conversion type thing, and la-di-da. It ends on a note that makes you think it's kind of following the trend of a lot of things that are going on in Marvel and DC events, but we'll see. Like I said, the previous issues were kind of interesting, and I don't know if it was just a case of the writer and the artist just not having time to do it, or maybe they just ran out of ideas. Who knows? But it looks like they're picking up again. So I'll have to check out the next few issues. Next is Bitch Planet number 2. Kelly Sue DeConnick and Valentine DiLorando. Basically, in this issue, there's talk about a television show that they use on Earth to contain the masses, and some people who are at the jail or whatever go to the main character Cam and try to convince her to form a team to play on the little sports game on TV. She really doesn't want to do it because she figures like, why should I, help you or do your thing? It's not going to benefit me at all. But some of the other prisoners kind of convince her to kind of go along, and you kind of figure that maybe they have a thing or two up their sleeves. And again, we're still playing with several B-movie tropes. You've got the women behind bars thing going on. You've got the space prison thing going on. Now you have the whole thing with the TV show, bread and circuses going on to, entertain the masses or whatever. So maybe interesting to see what's going on, where it's going to go from here, at least is with this first story arc. There's a thing here where Kelly Sue DeConnick basically says that their original plan is to, if they can, to go to 30 issues or so. So if the comic sells, we'll at least get a 30-issue story. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how they do that. There's also another feminist article, whatever, which I haven't read yet. Oh, I just wanted to bring this up. This is not important in any way, shape, or form, but in Kelly Sue DeConnick's article, she references Twisted Sister, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and Joan Jett. And the only reason I bring this up is that people are constantly talking about how she and her husband Matt Fraction are like hipsters, and like I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, AC/DC is not a hipster band. You look at the stuff that was going on in Hawkeye that was written by Matt Fraction. All the the pop references that kept showing up were stuff like the guitar player from Kiss and Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys and Elliot Gould, and it's like, these aren't really hipster things. I mean, I just think it's weird that they get labeled, with that tag or whatever. But anyway, next thing is Sandman number 4. Ooh, look at that glare. By Neil Gaiman and J.H. Williams III. This was just really interesting. Really interesting to look at. The plot, as it were, has something to do with Morpheus is still wandering around with the little girl. Let me find a picture here. He's still wandering around with the little girl and the big cat, and they're going into the netherworlds and the metaphysical this and the postmodern that and blah blah such and such. It comes out that a story's being told about how there was some person who's another manifestation of somebody that may or may not be the little girl, and they were having a dream, and the dream was hurting people in that world or something, and Morpheus may or may not have to kill her, which would actually also kill the little girl or something like that. I'm not 100% certain. I'll just have to, I'll have to reread the comic book to really, really understand what's going on plot-wise. But, I kind of enjoyed it. You know what I mean? This art is really, really great. Oh, I just wanted to say this. Somebody that knows pop art a little bit better than me needs to help me out. This art here this kind of stuff here, it makes me think of whatever that guy was from the late 60s, early 70s, Peter Max, I want to say. That whole kind of, pseudo psychedelic, Beatles Yellow Submarine type art or whatever. And what was funny about it is last year I think there was an issue of Astro City that had a kind of Sandman s type character, and he'd escaped from dimension whatever, and his presence was causing people to fall in love. But a lot of the art took that whole sort of quasi psychedelic, animated whatever art, and it just reminded me of this, or I should say this issue reminded me of that issue. But it's a thing of the parody influencing the original source material, or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's kind of interesting that Sandman isn't getting a lot more buzz, I guess, among a lot of the fans or whatever. Or maybe it is, and I just haven't been paying attention. But yeah, I'm digging it. All right. The other thing I bought that I didn't read yet is Sunstone. Oh, by Stefan Sajic or Sajic. I'm not sure. I might not be saying his name right. Right. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But basically, what the story is, it's more or less this kind of relationship between these two characters who kind of have this sort of friendship and they become lovers. But there's this whole sort of bondage thing going on. The comic is not like pornographic or anything like that, but I think it's a look into sort of, alternative sexuality and stuff like that. I know it was up on his Deviant Art page for a while for free, and I always meant to check it out. And I just saw it in the store today, and I just had a few extra dollars, and I just figured I might as well get it. They've got this one copy, and just get it while it was there. So like I said, I haven't really read it yet, but I will. I may or may not do a review on it. We'll see. So anyway, that's it. I got to thank you very much for listening, and you have a good day.